Good morning, book lovers of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe because for every subscriber, I get a new subscriber and I read a page from a book of my choice. So I just got my driving license, and in today's video, I am going to be answering some very difficult would you rather questions, which have to do with the book world. And these questions were part of a Jesse the Reader video, and I would like to play along because that's what he suggested people who are booktubers do. So there are 12 questions, and I am going to be giving you my opinions regarding which one I would pick because I haven't made a video similar to this one for a long time now. And I'm very excited to answer these questions, so I'm certain that you'll enjoy my responses, and of course feel free to tag along. Let me know your answers in the comment section down below. So the first question is, would you rather be spoiled for a character death or spoiled for how a book series ends? So generally, from my experience, the way a book series ends, right, usually has a lot of character deaths anyway. So if I were given the option, I'd rather be spoiled for one character death rather than the entire series ending. You know, there is so much more encapsulated there, and there is so much you can deduce from the way a series ends that it would spoil much more than just knowing the death of one character, especially if that character is not a main character. The second question is, would you rather be forced to read the beginning of a book and not be able to read the end, or forced to read the end of a book and not be able to read the first part of the book? If I were honest, I'd rather pick the beginning, because usually this sets the foundation for how the story will end. I've read enough to know and understand certain patterns in books and the way certain stories tend to work, so it would be much easier to conclude the way the book will end if I have the beginning. If I have the ending, on the other hand, I'll be able to probably trace back to the beginning, see what led up to this, but it would be quite harder to do. So I'd rather be given the beginning as opposed to the ending. The third question is, would you rather pick up a book and it be sticky, or pick up a book that had smooshed bugs in between its pages? So this is perhaps one of the easier questions on here. I would much rather pick a book with smooshed bugs in between the pages. Of course, it depends on what bugs we're talking about, but I believe that the bugs really give a certain texture to the book, which makes it feel more historical, you know, more like a proper book, more in touch with nature, the way it was intended to be, the place it came from to begin with, you know. It feels more authentic if there are smooshed bugs in between its pages. Not that I've had much of an experience with this, but as long as there aren't actual bookworms or cockroaches or those sorts of bugs in the books, I think I can deal with bugs as opposed to it being sticky. Because that would be disgusting, you know, having glue or vomit or food in there, that would just suck, you know. Fourth question is, would you rather be forced to tattoo the cover of a book on your butt cheeks, or tattoo the entire text of a book all over your body? Of course, it depends on what book we're talking about. If it's a short book, and it also depends on the font size and the quality of the book, the quality of the story, that's how I would be able to pick one of these. But personally, I think I would rather get the tattoo of the cover of a book on my butt cheeks, especially if it's a cover which I like, which is aesthetically pleasing, than get it all over my body. I'm not even sure whether I have enough skin to do all of that in a way, so yeah, the butt cheek tattoo would certainly be funnier and better looking if it's a lovely cover, in my opinion, I suppose. Next question, would you rather each chapter of a book end with a character death, or forget what happens in the last chapter with every new chapter you start? Okay, you know, I don't think I've ever read a book where the end of a chapter always brought a character death. I think that would be quite an interesting concept and an original one as well, so I would rather go with that. If I were to forget what happens in the last chapter with every new chapter I began, that would kind of ruin the whole vibe of the book. You know, what would be the point of reading it to begin with? It would just be a bunch of ideas put together in the same book, but you wouldn't be able to remember anything anyway. So I would certainly go for the first one, a character death at the end of every chapter. Next question is, would you rather have a book with a great concept but horrible writing, or would you rather have a book with a boring concept but with good writing? Honestly, as a writer myself, I am always looking for new ideas, new concepts to be able to integrate them into my own work. And I can bypass the horrible writing if it's a good concept, because that way I'll know I can make it better myself and someday see it on the shelves. If it's good writing, I suppose, but a horrible concept, it will still feel repetitive, boring, and I probably wouldn't get through it and keep it on my currently reading shelf for all of eternity, probably. Next question is: would you rather be sucked into a fictional world but not be able to hang out with any of your favorite characters, or have your favorite fictional characters visit your world temporarily? I mean, I would rather meet my favorite fictional characters, regardless of whether it's in their world or my world, rather than not meet them at all. So, definitely the second one with this one. As long as I get the opportunity to meet the people, it doesn't even matter where, you know? As long as we're together, we get to know each other, that's better than not knowing each other at all. So, I'm going to call this quite a stupid question to begin with. Next is: would you rather have a book smell terribly while reading it, or have a book sting you every time you touched it? Okay, so I'm going to be a bit boring with my answer here, but if any of my books did this to me, I simply wouldn't read them at all. Um, I just put them down and pick another book. You know, why would I want to hurt myself, either psychologically or physically? But then again, I would rather have a book sting me every time it touched me, especially if it was some sort of action book, you know, where I could actually feel the tension between the characters and the storyline and make it feel more real. If I were to choose, it would definitely be the second one. As a book smelling terribly, it just doesn't cut it for me. Definite no. Would you rather have a book you love disappear from existence after reading it, or never be able to talk about the books you love? Okay, good question here, but what does it mean when the book disappears? Does it disappear physically, or does it mean that nobody else knows about its existence? Because in that case, you wouldn't really be able to hold a conversation with anyone anyway, you just know the concept and be able to present the story to other people. But I'd still pick that one, to be honest, because never being able to talk about the books I love, that would kind of spoil the fun of reading to begin with. And why wouldn't I want to share the books I love with other people, you know? Um, Especially if all I have is the concept, and it would make me seem as though I know so much more than other people who don't read or who haven't read the books I have, you know? Would you rather sacrifice a book you love, never be able to read it again, in order to bring back to life a dead character, or sacrifice a book you love in order for a bad book with a good concept to be revamped into an incredible book? Okay, with this one, I think I would pick the first one. Sacrifice a book I love in order to bring back to life a dead character. Simply because I could write the badly written book with a good concept and make it an incredible one myself. So I don't really have to rely or depend on anyone to do that when I can do it myself. And this way, I would be able to bring back a character from the dead, especially a character which I love, I suppose, and a character which I could read more about in future books or publications. Next question is: would you rather read a book with a cringy dialogue, or read a book filled with boring characters? Honestly, if the characters aren't boring, yet their dialogue is cringy, it would just add an added element to the story and perhaps make it even more interesting, even though you cringe every time the characters speak with each other. But if the characters are boring, it would feel just like hanging out with people who don't have anything to add to the conversation and just nod at you or smile at you without inputting their opinions and making everything about them seem so boring and uninteresting that you'd hardly want to be able to continue the conversation or read the book where they're involved anyway. So I'd go with the first one for this one: cringy dialogue over boring characters. And finally, would you rather read a book with horrible grammar or read a book filled with misspellings? Honestly, bad grammar is something which is a huge red flag for me in an author. Misspellings, I suppose I can blame on horrible proofreading, but bad grammar, it just goes to show that the author doesn't really know how he should write. let alone put an idea into publication at all, because he doesn't really have experience with the language and can't really put his thoughts onto paper properly. So that would certainly remove his credibility and my experience of reading his text, whatever he has to say. So I would certainly pick misspellings over horrible grammar, although I would certainly criticize both of these in any book when I came to write a review or make a video review of the books in question. So those were the 12 would you rather questions. I thought they would be much more difficult, but I think as quite an objective person myself, I was able to pick them quite quickly, my options, and it was a fun challenge, fun questions to ask for the most part. And if you'd like to participate, please do so either in the comment section or make your own video and tag me in there, and I'll certainly check all of them out. I reply to all comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, of course, share with your friends, anything you can do to help promote my channel. And thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. The 1,000 subscribers special is soon on the way, so you won't have to wait long for that, and it will be about how to grow your manga collection. Don't worry about it, you're in fantastic hands over here. And once again, thank you to Jesse the Reader for the idea for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, hopefully very, very soon. Bye, guys.